Good day, guys. I believe every one of us are doing great. You are welcome to another day of our online graphics training where we'll be making use of our phones. My name is Olabode Moses from Gracious Concept. Today, we'll be making a simple 3D text logo by making use of our phone and a particular app called Pizza Lab. So today we'll be making use of some of those tools that I've explained in our previous class to make this simple design. So come along with me as we'll be starting the design. So I told us the other day that we have different templates on the app, but we'll be you'll be making use of the first template here. Now to start the design, we have to delete these particular text symbols on the interface of the app. So we have to delete it, and I told us the delete tools the other day. So we'll be deleting this. So we have to delete this by pressing the delete tools here. So now we can see that the text is no longer there. It's no longer there. So to start the work, to beautify our work, I would like to change the interface of this template to black, and I told us that this is where we can do that, can change it from this place. So this is color, so let's change it to black. Now I'm not making use of black as my background because I have a particular background I will be using for this design. We can get our different backgrounds on our Chrome or any of our browser. We call it mockups. There is a particular site called mockups, but if we type apes mockups.com, so our browser will direct us there, so we can delete any background of depending on the designs that we are making. Maybe it's tailoring. Now if you want to make a design for tailoring, you will have to download a mock-ups of a machine, sewing machine. Now if it is a technology, now you have to download a mock-up of a computer system. Now depending, I hope you understand what I'm trying to say. So depending on the designs you are making for any of your clients, but today, just I've said, we are not designing any logo. We will be starting with just a simple text design. So I said I have a particular background I will be using for this design. So now I will import the background that I want to use for this design. So we import. I told us earlier that I said the plus tools can be used to import our image from our gallery. So I'll be importing so I'll be making use of this background for my design, so we can change it to any size of our taste. So depending on the dimension, on how we want our design, if it is portrait, if it is in a rectangular form, I mean landscape. So depending on the size, so we must know the dimension before we start. So let me make use of this. So okay, let me make use of it. Then we drag it to cover the interface of the app. So after doing this, to avoid it shifting, to avoid it moving from a particular place to another, we just have to lock it. I told us that we have a layer tools the other day, so we have to lock it. Now I've locked it, we can see that it's no longer moving. It's no longer moving on the screen. Now let's start our designs. So I told us that this is from Gracious Concept, so I will be making a simple text design that has to do with Gracious Concept. So we start by typing. Now this is the, I told us that the plus tools can also be used for text. So text, then type. Let's, now we are designing Gracious Concept. So gracious, now this is gracious, this is a particular word. Now gracious, now if you should look at it, this is just a normal text font. Now if we should look at it, it's not that beautiful and attractive. Now let's change it to another font. I told us that this A tools is used to change font size and some other features. Now we are changing the font. Now this is the font. Now let's find a beautiful font that we can use. Now, design has to do with our creativity. Sometimes we can get a ready-made flyer online or a ready-made logo online, then we just edit it by following same process. But to become a best designer, we have to be creative, ability to sit down and be able to think that okay, I should do the design like this, I should do it like this. So that is what we call creativity. So let me make use of this fascinate inline regular font. So I'll be making use of this font. So I'll make use of this font. Okay, as we can see. Now if you should look at it, is white in color. The font color is white. So we can decide to change the color too. Can decide to change the color, or we can just leave it like, let's just we can change the color if we wish. If we wish to change the color, we are free to do that too. So depending on how we want it. So let me use this color. Now let me give it a stroke. So a stroke, I have explained this, just used to beautify our work. Now let me give it a stroke. Okay, let me use white color as the stroke. As we can see that the thing is becoming more beautiful. Now this is gracious. Now let me add another features to it. Okay, let us give it a shadow. Let us give it a shadow. Let's give it a shadow. Let's give it a shadow. Okay, let's not use the emboss. Okay, okay. Let's the 3D test. If we want to use it too, but let us know. I'm just trying to show us that we have different features that we can add to the test. Now let's continue from on. It depends on how we want it. Now this is the blur radius. So depending on how we want it, so depending on how we want it to make our work more beautiful, to make it more beautiful. Okay, let's leave it like this, gracious. So we can, if we feel like increasing the text, we can increase it the size. Can increase the size. We can increase the size too. Now let me add a gracious concept. Now let me add a concept to it. Concept. Okay, concept. Concept. Now this concept. Now if we are to look at this, another thing that I want to tell us is that whenever we are making a design font, our font should not be more than one or two, at worst three. But in making designs, our font should not be more than two. To when in a situation whereby we are having different fonts in a design, like we are making a simple design and we are making use of like five different fonts, it doesn't make our work to look more professional. Like it's belittle our work. So when we are making a design, it is advisable for us to know that fonts should not be more than one or two, at worst three. Now, they have make use of a different font for the gracious. So the concept also I'll be changing. I'll be changing the font for the concept. I'll be changing the font for the concept. Okay, let me use another font for the concept. Let me use another font. Okay, let me use this Newton regular. Okay, and the Newton regular. Now if we can see this concept, now we can decide to increase the size. We can decide to increase the size. So I believe we are getting what I've been doing. We can increase the size. So depending on how we want to arrange it, this is just a simple test design. Now let me give this a stroke too. Let us give it a stroke. Let us give it a strokes. Give it a strokes. Okay, a stroke. Okay. Now Okay, now let me leave it like this. Let us leave it like this. You can see, and if we feel like the stroke is not enough, so depending on how we want it, we can uh we can add to it the stroke. Okay, this is the stroke, so we can add to it if we feel like it's not enough. Then let me now, I said we have a party another tools also. Wait, I said we have a shape tools. Now to beautify our work again, like after making this is gracious concept. So I cannot look at it that okay, how can I still beautify my work? Okay, we can just as you can see now that I'm not following any pattern, or I don't have a ready-made design, so I'm making this with my own knowledge, with my own creativity. So that is what I told us, that we must be creative in making a beautiful design. Now let me use a tools. Okay, okay, let me make use of this. Okay, let me make use of this. Now, now this is another tools that I want to make use of. I have compressed it. Why? Because I want to add a text inside it. Now, to make it more beautiful, to make my work more beautiful, now I can just add stroke to this to bring out my work. I can add stroke to it to bring out my work. Now, as you can see, I've added stroke to it to bring out my work. We can, okay, let me just leave it like this in one. Let me now, to avoid it from shifting, I can also lock it. I can lock it. Okay, I've locked it already. Now I want to add a text inside it. I want to add a text inside it. Okay, let me say a service. Let me say a service you can trust. Okay, service you can trust. Now, and I told us, I said it is advisable whenever we are making use of font, that our font should not be more than two or three. Now I've used a particular font for gracious, and I've used another font for concept. Now I will make use, is either I make use of the fonts, the first font, or I make use of the font used for the concept for the text again. Now, but as we can see that the text that I just typed now is in small letter. So let me make use of the font that I use for the concept for a service you can trust too. So for a service you can trust. Now let me change the font, just I've said, to now if we should remember, I make use of Newton regular for the concept, so I'll be making use of it for the service you can trust too. So now to bring out the work, now if you should look at the inner color of this shape that I make use of, we can see it is in white color. So, and we can see that this text is in white color too. So it is either I change this a service you can render to trust, so that it can bring out the work of this text, or I change the inner color of these shapes. So now let me change this text color. Let me change it to uh, black. Okay, let me change it to black now. A black. Let's look at it. Maybe it will be okay now. Look at it. You can see that it is okay. Now we can bold it. We can bold the text. Now we can see that we can put it in slant or italic too. Can put it in italic, can put it in italic, then we can reduce the size to make it more beautiful. So you can see, now we can see that the work is beautiful. We can see that with our own creative idea, that we can make out a better design. Now after this, there is need for us to input details, or let me say information. Like what I'm trying to say is that there should be number or address, but in this design we'll be making use of a number, just a number. Now in making designs, just as I've said, you have to download the logos, a lot of logos. Like you have to download WhatsApp logo, you have to download phone call logos. So whenever you are want to input a number into your design, so you'll be able, you are passing that information that okay, oh, if you want to WhatsApp me, to message me, or you want to call me, so you've that you've included in the design really shows you are telling your client, or you are telling your customers, that whenever they want to get you, or whenever they want to contact you, they should call the particular number that is used in the design. So now I already have the logo on my phone. Now let me input the logo. I have a okay I have a WhatsApp logo. Okay, this is a WhatsApp logo. Now, if you should look at it, this is not a PNG file. Now, if it is a PNG file, the background won't be there. But this is a PNG file, so I will have to use this to cycle. Then I will zoom it to cut the background of it. So I will have to reduce it to cut the background of it. Now, if you should look at it, then the background is no longer there. The background is no longer there. Now, as we can see, so we can adjust it just to form a circular shape that tallies with the logo. Now, all we have to do now is to zoom it, is to reduce the size. We have to reduce it. We have to reduce it. Then I told us that we have a positioner tools here, so we can use this to shift it. You can use this to shift it. Okay, should be here. So we can use it to shift it. Okay, I think the size is too big. Then we can reduce the size here too. We can reduce it, okay, to 6. So I will advise this place is advisable. If you want to reduce the size or want to increase it, you can just come to relative size to reduce this. So let me leave it at 6. Let me import the core logo too. The core logo is a PNG file, so there's no need of cutting the background. So now you just have to reduce it. You reduce it just as I said you can also use a relative. Let's let the two logo be in equal sizes. Now we adjust it. We adjust it. We adjust it. Okay, we adjust it. We adjust it. We adjust it. Okay. So now, okay. Now I've import the logos. Now let me import the number the WhatsApp and call. The WhatsApp and call 0814092. Okay. Okay. Now there's need for us to change this font too. So let us make use of the second font we have been making use of. Okay, let's change the font. Okay, to Newton regular. As you can see, that I did not make use of different fonts. So my font doesn't exceed 2. It doesn't exceed 2. So our font should not be much while making design. So as you can see, okay. So we can use the position tools. We can give it space if we wish. We can space the text, can space it just to look more beautiful. Then the relatives, the relative, the position, we position it to be at the middle. Then we can reduce the size in order for it to fit in. Can reduce the size. Then we reposition it to look more beautiful. So as we can see now, let me reduce. It seems this is Now let me reduce it to 6. Okay, let me reduce this to relative size. Let me reduce this to now. You can see, okay, you can see position. Now, perfect job. Now, if we feel like adding any other information, we can also add it. Then we follow same process. Now, as we can see that the job is perfect. Now we can add stroke to this to bring out the work. We can add stroke to it. We can add stroke to it. Now, let's add stroke to it. So it's no more than 2. So I'm giving it white stroke. So it's no more than 2. As you can see that this is a perfect job. It has bring out the work. Also the text, if we feel like giving it, if we feel like giving it bold, we can bold it. Then we can also give it shadow if we feel like, but I will advise us to not use shadow for things like this. Then stroke, I said we can give it a stroke too. Can give it a stroke. Can give it a stroke. Let's leave it like this. I think same color. You can see that I'm using this color. I'm using pink that we use in the design. So now bring it back. Now this is a perfect simple text design. Now after we are done with this, we have to merge it in order to be in a 3D text logo. In order to be in a 3D text logo. Now all we have to do is we come to the layers, just have done before. Let me unlock this. Then we have to lock the background so that we'll be merging just only the text. Now after doing this, we have to press this, the mark and the times sign here, the plot, I mean the mark and the times sign here. We have to, then we have to choose every of the text and the logos on the design. Then we have to merge it. Okay, so after doing this, we will come back to the 3D, if we feel like using 3D here, we can also give it any other design here, but if you feel like leaving it like that, we can leave it. But this is the 3D rotate. This is the 3D rotate. I think this is how it should be. Yes, to this side. Yeah, yes, yeah. I think mounted on the wall, we can see it's pasted on the wall. So this is an example of a 3D. This is an example of a 3D text logo. We can see that the work is now beautiful, more beautiful and beautiful and beautiful. So this is how to do a simple text logo. This is how to do it. Then we can still rotate it. We can rotate it on anyhow we want it to be. On anyhow we want it to be. In anyhow we want it to be. So as you can see, So now this is how to make a simple 3D text logo. Thank you for your time. Thank you for watching. We are going to see in our next class. So now before I end this class, now this is how to save. When you are done with the design, all you have to do, save it. You can save it as image, or I told us in our last class that we can save it as project. If we save it as project, that means we can continue whenever we come onto our design again. We can edit it to another different design. But I will be saving this as project. Likewise, I'll be saving it as an image. So project 1. So these are project 1. These are project 1 1. Let me use 1 1 1. Okay, these are project 1 1 1. So arts will definitely come up. So okay, we save as image. So let's save as png. Okay, default very high so that it can look more visible and more clearer. So then we save. So we are done with our job. Once again, my name is Olabode Moses from Gracious Concepts. Bye.